Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and so here we are, we got Drasna Dragalge at 5 out of 5 6-star EX for a showcase. Yes, finally doing one of these for a random spotlight character. Drasna is not a character that I'm super big on. I mean, I started with Kalos, so I mean, there is some, special place or whatever for Drasna, but not really anything crazy. I'm more so liking Dragalge here. This is more so why I'm showcasing this, because Dragalge, one of my favorite Dragon-type Pokemon for sure. Definitely like top 50 overall in Pokemon, I would say. I really do like it, and we're going to be showcasing here today. So, Drasna, with her stats, looks pretty good. And her move options for free-to-play, Spotlight, whatever, standards aren't bad either. Sludge Bomb and Draco Meteor. More so is the fact that she's pretty much locked to on-type damage via Super Duper Effective 5 as her main multiplier, and Super Freebie for her form of gauge management. But that's not that big of a deal to me, honestly, because these characters, I don't really expect to be able to use them most of elsewhere anyway, other than like maybe gauntlet stages or lower tier content. I think they're good for what they are. I mean, do wish we got similar quality of like Kimono, Grimsley, or Sonia, but hey, it's fine. Whatever. But as stated, she's got Draco Meteor and Sludge Bomb as damaging options. She has a Dragon Sync pair with innate for Poison, which can be activated by Sludge Bomb or Toxic. Toxic's not bad at all. She's also got Simply Charming as her trainer move, which raises special attack by 4 and crit by 2, and applies super effective next. Not bad in self-sufficiency, but it does need work. But her grid helps out, of course, with that, among other things. So her grid has a Toxic Power 3 for a 30% DPS multiplier. That does help on top of the Super Duper Effective 5. Adrenaline 1 for some Sync acceleration, both Sync nodes, of course. Ramp up 2 on Toxic, giving special attack buffs. This can keep your special attack maxed out, which is good, because she does also have Team Special Attack down immunity. Granted, I'm honestly surprised they gave this to her simply because of Toxic having ramp up, which is basically infinitely able to be activated. So I'm surprised they didn't just let her sit with something else in the third passive slot and let Draco Meteor debuff special attack. Though granted, it still would have probably been better to run Dauntless anyway, but that's not the point. Anyway, she's also got Virtual Toxin 5 for another 50% Sync Nuke multiplier for 150% total Sync Nuke multipliers. Not too bad. Crit Strike 2 as well as a Lucky Seal helps that out, or Super Power 3 as well. And then she's got a few other things like Toxic Bug 9, hit poisoned opponents stat down 9 for being able to debuff enemies' stats when they are poisoned, Brain Gain 9 on the trainer move, and Sharp Entry 1 for maxing out crit as well. So she's got some self-sufficiency stuff, some damage stuff, and a little bit of utility to help her out. So let's go ahead and see what she can do for some dragon damage, poison damage, and all of that good stuff. Alright, so I figured I'd hop into our first battle as a Latios solo. I did take a lot of the run here from that of Zinfogel's and also Snow's from the Legendary Arena solo guide for Latios. The big one here is that Drasna takes these attacks relatively well despite lack of debuffs or whatever, because Latios mostly debuffs its own stats for him. But she's also making good use of her Free Moves Next ability. She gets Free Moves Next when using Toxic and Free Moves Next when using Draco Meteor from the Super Freebie 9. So she's able to manage her gauge pretty well. And the big thing with Latios is that you want to kind of build around the final bar where it does a lot more damage. So if you're able to mostly get to the point where you can kind of Sync Nuke past most of bar 3, you don't really have to worry about it too much. So you're mostly trying to stall out bar 1 because you will do way too much damage to be able to get to that point. You do want 2 Sync buffs going into bar 3, so you're able to mess with that. So just trying to go straight damage via Draco Meteor is not really recommended. You can also make use of the toxic spam akin to that of like the Thunderwave spam of Colress, or Stun Sword spam of BB Berry, or Sing spam of like Melanie and Rosie, damage challenge stuff, in order to actually heal up, because you can get the gradual healing off of her trainer move via hit and heal in the grid, and you can heal up again off of that. Toxic, you'll use Toxic, you'll fail, you'll get a heal, and then you can keep using it. You will lose a little bit of gauge from that, but again, you're getting a ton of HP, and you'll see that here. Chaos Elements, because that's will do way too much damage. And here's what I kind of mean. We use Toxic here. Latios is going to keep a Draco Meteor, which is going to do a little bit of damage. Toxic lands, whatever, cool. Gets us Free Moves Next, we're not full gauge. And then you basically use Toxic twice to get to the Sync move here, but we're able to use it pretty much in succession, be able to get some extra healing in there. Not necessarily here, but I mean, it did help a little bit, so whatever. Anyway, it's nice. Point being, got a good dragon nuke. 42,000 damage is definitely good. That was with super effective next, I believe, so just keep all that in mind. This is where the toxic spam really kind of comes in. You use toxic multiple times just so we can kind of build around it a little bit. And now we're going to start spamming Draco Meteor. You want to go into bar 3, mostly having 3 moves to be queued up, I want to say, just so you don't have to worry about the attacks. And again, we're getting good healing in here as well. The Earthquake landing and critting was bad. The crit is just straight up bad luck. And we do also have to worry about a surf, so that's fun. Either way, doesn't matter too much. We do have enough healing for it to be able to kind of manage. 43,000 health. Oh, sorry, 43% health. Nice. Whatever. Either way. Use Sludge Bomb here. Draco Meteor is not a bad option either. I think Sludge Bomb is just a slower animation, so it does help a little bit to make sure Latios doesn't queue up a move. And then attack with Drasna, nuke, and mostly goes down. You could probably land a higher roll and KO it, but you could also just queue up a move at the end. Anyway, not really, shouldn't really be making a guide. There's a dedicated video for that, but point is, she does have a little bit of fun gimmicks, spam with like the toxic. Again, you can spam toxic a little bit to get a little bit of healing back, and you can also, you know, lower down sync move gauge that way. And again, her damage is also really good, right? Like you've got a ton of methods for gauge, so you're able to very effectively spam Draco Meteors if you want to. And again, if you're mostly trying to do damage and you're not really trying to do a solo here, you can pop on another character, and you can really see just how much her Draco Meteors are able to do to the enemy, and it's pretty nice. She's very strong for that. Alright, figure why not. Let's go ahead and go for a poison damaging run. We got main character Mesprit for some gauge, special tech buffs, yada yada, and Plumeria as our other main form of poison damage, main form of poison nuking, be considering Drasna as a dragon type. Anyway, she's also, Drasna, of course, able to apply poison via Toxic, which does help for multiplier activation for her and other characters, and also Toxic Poison is good for his chip damage anyway, so it's not too bad. And again, Drasna actually does have good potential damage on her DPS via, again, Super Duper Effective 5 and Toxic Power 3, Critical Strike 2, so she's got good multipliers off of a good offensive stat, and of course this would look a lot better if she was enhanced via Poison Rebuff or Poison Zone or Special Defense debuffs or something like that, but of course this is more of a, I guess, free-to-play setup, you could say, right? Again, 2 Spotlight characters and a BP character that's at 1 out of 5, right? So that's kind of the point here. I guess these characters are meant to be run in a more free setting. She one-shots the Abomasnow there. Did require a little bit of messing around with parameters, but that's not really that big of an issue. Either way. She's good for poison damage. She's got good single target poison damage. She can cover it just fine. I mean, there are, of course, other good poison options, but if you want to make use of Drasna, maybe you've already invested in her, or maybe you have, like, low resources or something, maybe you want to make Drasna work, you can definitely do that, obviously. She does do pretty well in the role of damaging Gaia poison damage. It's not too bad. And Plumeria again here, she does synergize relatively well. If I had Mind Games 2 on Plumeria, it could make a little bit better usage of that, but running the Crit Strike 2 was just better for me, so that's what I did. Anyway, that's where he goes down there, but that's fine. I had horrible luck trying to get this run to actually work, not because it was a bad run, but because I was getting horribly unlucky. I would get hit with blizzards, and 2 of my characters would freeze. Pretty sure that's a 10% chance. Not for 2 of them to freeze, but for it to even do a freeze in the first place. My god. That's about the type of luck that I've been dealing with, right? Not anything relating to these characters, just been getting bad luck. But again, Drasna could look a little bit better with other enhancements via like different zones, rebuffs, defensive drops, or special moves next enhancement, whatever. But again, for a character that is free and you're mostly going to be using on type for certain stages, she can still perform well without that, right? Like she'll be able to beat Dragon Week content as shown with Latios, Poison Week content as shown here, and she does pretty effective damage in the role. So that's all that really needs to be said about this character. In terms of Dragon, obviously there are like free options like Cyrus, who you could invest in, especially for free, and also Ryuki, who is just really strong as well. You could also potentially invest for Poison. You could invest in like Roxy, I guess. I mean, Roxy's not too bad. Looker's not too bad on type as well. I need to think of other options. I mean, Koga's got a pretty solid nuke, but overall, I mean, I think Drasna works out relatively well DPS-wise, so that's not too shabby. And again, Plumeria as well, after her boost, is pretty good with her EX too, so that's nice. To finish up, I did want to do something where we enhance her damage off type, because again, one of her big multipliers is Super Duper Effective 5, so I want to take a look here and see just what can Drasna do without that multiplier, right? So in a setup with Lucas and Cygnus and Brendan, we're going to be getting special defense drops and Dragon Zone. So we're really going to be able to do a lot of damage here with Drasna, or at least enhance her damage a lot and see how much that actually makes the difference. And that's kind of the question here. Like, how much damage can she really do here? Well, I guess we're going to find out. One thing that I don't like about Drasna is her lack of precision, her lack of accuracy, because the Toxic Misses kind of helped a little bit in Latios. I mean, it did help with, like, stalling, getting healing, whatever, but in most other cases, not really. I had to deal with some Toxic Misses, some Draco Meteor misses. It was not very fun. So that is one thing you will have to probably consider with this character. Just want to keep that in mind. Either way, so now we've got all the enemies poisoned here. We've got Lucas's support EX in. We've got max special defense drops from Latios here, Brendan, Latios, whatever. What is Drasna able to do with the Draco Meteor damage? And also consider, because she's not doing super effective damage, she does not have the super freebie, so just keep that in mind. So how much is she able to do here with minus the special defense? One shots with 8,000 damage. That's not bad at all, really. That is definitely really, really solid. And then we've got Drasna's nuke. How much is this able to do? With 150% multipliers plus the tech nuke, 38,000 damage. That's pretty good, yeah. So, I mean, if you do have the resources, again, like Lucas here with his EX roll invested, I don't think you need Lucas's nuke. Well, clearly you don't. It really doesn't matter here. And you can replace Brendan with any of, like, a special moves next buffer or a special defense debuffer or anyone like that. You can make Drasna work as on her own as a nuker. Like, she's not the best dragon nuking character in the world. It would have been better infinitely to just go for Lucas's nuke again in that situation. But if you maybe have a lower invested Lucas, but you somehow maybe still have him with the support EX roll, or you can, quad Q, whatever, however you want to set it up, get the same setup going with a lower investment character, which you can do, you can see Drasna doing similar results, which is not bad. Definitely not bad at all. So how can Drasna perform even outside of trying to do on-type damage? I mean, she performs relatively well. Obviously, there's going to be better options, there's going to be more effective options, but if you want to make her work, you definitely can. It's not that big of a deal, especially because her only multipliers are poison, which on their own is not fantastic, but the fact that they are her only multipliers mean you can get all of them activated really easily. That is also something to consider. 150% multipliers plus crit strike 2, not hard to activate when it's literally just poison and landing a crit. So, at the very least, there's that to go to as well. Anyway, that's my thoughts about Drasna and Dragalge. S6-3X, 5 out of 5. Whatever else. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's like the best character in the world, but hey, for a new free player, or like a newer player, she's gonna work. That's all I really need. Yeah, I'll see you later. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think about Drasna and Dragalge in the comments below. Peace.